No, no. I have no idea what I'm doing here. This is not my computer. I think it's this one. Is it this one? I'll double click it. No, I'll drag it. I don't think that's a song. Enter. How's it going? Everybody doing good? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
That kind of sucked. Let's try that again. Everybody ready? That's a lot better. All right, who's here from out of town? Make some noise. Yeah, who's here from Georgia? Make some noise. Alabama. What's up? Florida? All right, yeah, that's a little bit too far, isn't it? Arkansas. New York City. Yeah, we got one. I think that's all you really need. Virginia?
I'm from
Holler
Virginia.
stuff out. I'm plugging stuff in. South Carolina. South Carolina. Where else? Where else we got?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Get a rope. Anybody remember that? You remember that commercial? New Jersey. Get a rope. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to figure out where the.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Miss Bernadette Stanis, Mr. Ralph Carter, and Mr. Jimmy Tay Walker!
Established in 1791. Glad to be here in 2017. Thank you.
That's right. Well, hello there.
Well, welcome to Knoxville once again. Welcome to Knoxville.
Thank you for having us.
Knoxville, one more time. Make some noise. All right, for those who've been to a panel with me, I'm your mic stand. You just raise your hand. I come over to you and shove this bad boy right in your mouth hole. And we get this started. So does anybody have a question to start out with? Yeah, right here.
Bernadette, you're still as beautiful as ever.
Yes.
You take my breath
much.
away. I've always thought you were beautiful.
Thank you.
Growing up and watching Good Times, I loved Esther role as a mother. And even now that I'm a mother now, even more so, I'm a big fan. How was it working with her? Did she take on a maternal instinct with you?
Well, she did with me. I think with Ralph too. You know, Jimmy was the grown one, so you know. But anyway, but she was a wonderful, wonderful leader, and I used to. I loved her dearly, and I used to be at her house all the time. Till she told me to go home. Yeah.
Do we have another question? I've got a question. So how did you each get your start? How did you get your start, not only in the acting, but getting on to Good Times?
I was a veteran Broadway theater actor before I started on Good Times. I began my career as a theater actor in American musicals at the age of 8.5, going on 9. By the time I reached the age 12, I had been in 6 major Broadway productions on Broadway. I also had worked with John Amos and knew Esther Rolle long before I ever got the job I had on Good Times. I was one of the very actors who got the job before I had the job. I was in a production in which they had to buy my contract out in order for me to be in Good Times. So before then, I also had the honor to receive every major American theater award you can imagine, including the Tony Award, the Drama Desk Award, the Theater World Award. And thus, was it. And I have a wonderful alliance with my mother because she used to save all of the old photo clips and newspaper reviews that happened. I said, Mom, why are you saving all this stuff? She said, Ralph, you never know when you're going to need them. So when I've been writing my autobiography, all of those documents have come in handy. And I'm eternally grateful to my mother. She's presently 95.
Well, I guess I'm second, right?
Yeah.
Well, I started out dancing, since I was 5 years old. I've been in dance, tap, ballet, the whole thing. And I was in a beauty pageant, and I was a teenager, and I was in Miss Black American Beauty Brooklyn. And then there was a manager there that saw me when I was doing the pageant, and he came up to my mom and he said, there's a television show that we're coming out with, and it looks like your daughter can play that part. So they gave me my mom a card, and then I went up to audition at CBS with Norman Lear and, of course, Jimmy Walker. And we improvised, didn't we?
Yes, of course.
And we did that, and then they called me to go to California, and I auditioned then, and back and forth with other girls, and finally, a couple of months later, they called us and told me that I was Thelma. Wow.
Oh, me? I'm basically just a stand-up. So if you watch any sitcoms now, most of the guys who are on the shows are stand-up. So we started at the Improv. Well, not started, but middle ground at the Improv, and at that time we had a lot of people that I guess people would say are successful. Whatever. It's just probably about 50 people who sang. We had Bette Midler, we had Richard Pryor, we had Robert Klein, and we had David Brenner, and we had Larry David, and we had Jerry Seinfeld, and we had Tim Allen, and we were all there. A lot of us, people I'm leaving out now, but a lot of us were there all at the same time. Bette and Pam Benatar were waitresses at the club. So, people it's always strange when I hear people talk about Bette and how great she is, and you go, really? Because you saw her as a waitress when she was upset about things. Or Pat Benatar when she was with her husband, who was the piano player. Or Barry Manilow, who was the assistant piano player at the time. So there was just a lot of people and a lot of folks and a lot of creative people and people who you guys don't even know that are very good, but just industry doo-doo. They didn't get to the end zone, it's that kind of stuff like that. But there's a lot of great people all at the Improv, and so that was that. And then we all went to the left coast, and that's when we had Freddie Prinze and Byron Allen and Jay Leno and David Letterman, and a lot of people all at the same place at the same time. And Letterman actually is getting an award at the Kennedy Center in 2 weeks, and I will be there along with Steve Martin and Bill Murray and all those guys. Whatever.
Jimmy,
so that's that. So
how did you get the part?
The part came from just doing stand-up. The part came actually from, quite honestly, Dan Rowan of Rowan and Martin saw me on the Jack Parr show. And he said, that's a guy that's whatever he thought. So he went to Lorne Michaels of Laugh-In and said, this is a guy you should have on your show. So I did Laugh-In with Lauren, and people don't know Lorne Michaels was one of the producers of Laugh-In in about 1820, whenever it was. Now Lorne Michaels, he's a big star. Obviously, you guys know who Lorne Michaels is from Saturday Night Live. Yeah. And what happened was Alan Mannings and Lauren said, this is a guy that should be on the show. And they said, okay. That was it.
Also, if you purchase Mr. Walker's autobiography, you'll find that he also mentored many of the artists that he's speaking of. A lot of them were under Jimmy Walker's wing before the public knew who they were. I'm going to give you that plug because it's the truth.
Well, you know, those guys all start, you know, I always tell the story of David Letterman. And David Letterman, if anybody knows anything about him, he's very insecure. Doesn't believe anything. Anyway, he did the morning show. You guys don't remember that, you're too young. But he had a morning show, which was almost the same as the night show. And him and Merrill Markle, his girlfriend at the time, and two of my guys, Ash and Curtis, who did Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theaters, and my other two guys, Frankenstein, the monster comedy writing team, who did Mr. Belvedere and Barney Miller. And what happened was the David Letterman show, morning show, didn't work out. And he had put probably about a year into working on this show and trying to make it happen. And he was so depressed. And it's tough for people to believe this, but him and Jay Leno at that time, Jay Leno was considered the comics comic, much like, I don't know, you guys don't get much comedy, but you can see it on TV. Bill Burr is the comics comic now. Yeah. And I mean, everybody's talking about Bill Burr. At that time, everybody's talking about Jay Leno. And Dave loved Jay Leno. I know people, when you get into the story, but he did. He loved Jay Leno. And David came over to my house, and he was literally in tears because the show didn't make it. And he said, "Oh my God, my life is over." He says, maybe I should just kill myself because I have no life left. I said, "Dave, don't you worry about a thing. You're going to be a big star." And he says, "What am I going to be? A quiz show host?" And I said, no, you're going to be, you may have another morning show, or you could get a late night show. And he said, "Late night? Who's going to put me on a late night? They got Johnny Carson. How would I get on a late night?" And I said, "Oh, something's going to happen." So he left, and I immediately called Jay Leno, because Jay Leno was his buddy. And I said, "Jay, you better call Dave. He's going to kill himself." Because this is that. I said, his career's over, but we don't, because I thought it was over too, but I didn't want to say anything. Because they had put so much hype into it. So what happened was Dave came back to my house, and I said, we used to have a place in Los Angeles called Tower Records, which is a big, giant, Sunset, big, giant store. And what they would do is they would put up all the new records and all the new TV and movies that were coming out. So I said, let's just take a walk around Tower Records. It's going to be fun. We'll go in there and just hang out. And we're walking into Tower Records, and there's a big David Letterman TV sign hanging up there, and they're tearing it down as we're walking in. I said, "Oh, okay, Dave, that's
Not
good."
good therapy.
I never get it. "Dave, this is going to happen, man. You're going to get a show." And we look up, and the guy goes, "Yeah, just rip it down from the top."
Don't go to Jay's house. How about the guy in the
Batman outfit.
My question is that I've never watched Good Times before, and I was wondering where would I actually find out where I can find this show, because I really seem interested about this, and I wanted to know where I can find it.
Well, I know that Best Buy was selling them, the DVDs.
But they're on TV. We're on
television, like,
What's
all
that
the
channel
time.
we're on?
We're actually playing now somewhere.
What's that show?
TV1?
TV1.
TV1. That's
On
it.
Saturday mornings, probably the whole day.
The whole day.
And when did you come out of the Batcave?
We got another question right over here.
Hi, a big fan, but my question is for Bernadette. I was lucky to catch you on your episode of Girlfriends, and I was just wondering how much is that your life every day?
That was a very fun show to do. Well, it's not quite like that. The guys wouldn't just come out and say, well, what is JJ doing now while we're having dinner or trying to be romantic? But, that was a really fun show to do. It is kind of like that in a way. And being that I was so young on the show and, trying to date, and all that after the show, I did run into a bit of that. And I was so hoping that, the guys wouldn't recognize me, when they talked to me. And then they finally recognized me. And so the relationship did change. And some stuck, some didn't. But yeah, it was kind of strange dating, having Thelma on my back.
We got a question up here, and then I'll go to the gentleman down front.
Okay.
Hey, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I mean, I grew up watching your show. I love it. I mean, you gave me a lot of good times watching Good Times.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
You're
bottom of my
welcome.
heart.
You're welcome.
And I just wish all of y'all continued success. God
Thank
bless.
you so much.
Likewise.
I'm running.
Gentleman down there.
What is all of your favorite episodes?
Paul has a question.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you all. What is this is for everybody. What is your favorite episode? Do you have a favorite episode?
Yes.
I love the Black Jesus. That was my favorite. I personally liked it, but the Weisses in Council and KKK didn't go over well with them. But what did happen was, that was one of my most enduring episodes. I also liked what I call the coming of age episode, in which I had to defend my mother against young men that I had joined a gang with. And, Michael got a chance to whoop some tail.
Yeah.
Those are among my two favorite ones, if I will tell you like I just did.
Well, of course, I liked The African Prince. Johnny Secker, when, I was dating him. And I was so in love with him. And we were going to get married. He was going to take me to Africa. Yeah. And so, and my mom, asked on the show, she says, well, do you really, what do you mean, take you to Africa? He has wives over there. And I'm like, oh no, he's gonna drop all of that for me. And so when I asked him on the show, so tell me that I'm gonna be the only wife. He couldn't tell me that. So, of course, I didn't go to Africa. I didn't get married to him either. Well, that was my favorite, and of course, the one when I got married on the show. I enjoyed that one. How about you, Jimmy Walker?
Well, being a comic, I went line for line, so I was always trying to be somewhat humorous. And we had one show where Bernadette was with this girl, and she was teaching this girl how to speak French. I was trying to go out with her, much like my real life now, where you're fighting. Every women make it so difficult, but it's just, they do. They fight and then they complain, and it's usually their fault, and guys are begging them to go out, and they just laugh at them, and then they go with their girlfriends and go, look at this moron, he tried to call me, look at this guy, look at that guy. And women take bids, they go, well, we're going to the Beyonce concert. Who's got a ticket in row A? I'll go with them. It's that guy. He knows that's the way women are. The guy goes, I got row D, and they go, well, there's a guy got row A. I'll go with him. So I'm trying to go out with this girl, and they speak French or whatever, and I'm trying to get in there, and I'm saying to the girl, I'm speaking my broken, horrible French. And I go, well, Bon Ami and, Eiffel Tower, I'm trying to get in there. So at the end, finally, when justice, which usually never prevails with women anyway, I get a chance to go out with her, and I said, well, it shows you how long ago it was. I says, well, see you at the Kool and the Gang concert on Friday. And I love Kool and the Gang, they're fabulous, they're great guys. I work with them all the time. But anyway, so see you at the Kool and the Gang concert on Friday night. Que sera, sera, Bon Ami, and cognac. So Norman Lear says, well, what does this cognac thing mean? I said, it doesn't mean anything, Norman. It's just an energy of the moment thing. And he says, no, man, because me and Norman, I love Norman Lear. He's one of my endearing people, I mean, unbelievable. But he never really believed, he was stunned that I could get any laughs at all. So he just said, it doesn't mean anything. I said, and we bet money on it. And at the end of this episode, we had like $2,000 bid that this is going to work.
Did you know that was
Yeah,
going on?
that's when
I
we had
didn't know
Gary.
that was going on.
That was in the 70s.
What?
Yeah. Gary Keith was on my side. He was director. He says, I've seen this guy get laughs on stuff. I don't get it. I don't know why. I'm going to go with, and Alan Manning's, of course, was totally against me. But so I said, and for me, the whole episode was the cognac thing at the end. I said, I don't care about the episode. I want this cognac thing to work. So I went to my main men, Vito on camera 4, and Hector. I said, hey, warm me up for this shot, man, because I got to make this work.
Wow, that's a lot going on.
Yeah. Oh no. This is so because I was friends with the camera guys, unlike some people here.
Oh, be quiet.
And the writers, they were with me because they know that I have an idea of a little bit of comedy. Mm-hmm. And so we did it, and I did the cognac thing, and it killed.
Killed.
That's a comic phrase. It totally killed.
He slaughtered them.
And so we go up to the room. We had dinner and stuff like that. And Norman stood up and he says, "Well, people, I don't know what to say." He says, Jimmy Walker came up with a line. I don't even know what the hell it meant, where it came from, but it did so well. I will never question Jimmy Walker's comedic talent again. But the horrible thing is when I would come up with something like that in the future, even though I would say 75% of my stuff worked, when it didn't work, you're not going to hit every time. It didn't work once in a while, and Norman would be going over the notes and he'd say, hey, what was that line? Oh, I know, energy of the moment. So it was that. So that's that. That was it. That was my favorite because it totally killed.
Because he won the bet.
Yes.
Oh, and I like Ned the Wino too.
That was good.
Ned the Wino. He was actually a regular on Sanford and Son, that guy. He was a good guy.
He played with
Still alive.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Ray
He's dead?
Yeah, he died. That's what I thought.
God.
That's what I thought.
That was such a roller coaster of emotions right there.
Yeah, that guy was funny. I liked him.
We got a question down front.
Who got the catchphrase dynamite?
That was, again, another fight.
Yeah.
Because me and John Rich, who was our director, because like I said, being a comic, there's literally, even though we've had some events, nothing that's not funny. Everything has some kind of humor involved if you're a comic. We just talk comedy. Matter of fact, I was getting ready for the David Letterman thing. I'm getting ready for that. And I'm writing it with like 6 writers for this thing that we're doing. 3.5 minutes I got to do. And we just talk and bang and battle and go. And your whole life is jokes. Anyway, I mean, if you listen to Larry David, you'll see him on HBO. Everything is a joke. Everything is depressing. But that's Larry. That's just the way it goes. Any comic you talk to, that's the way they think. So I came up with this thing, the dynamite thing, and nobody thought anything about it. But John Rich, who's our director, who's directed Honeymooners, Dick Van Dyke, and at that time was directing All in the Family. He says, I love it. I said, you love what? He says, the dynamite thing. I went, what about it? He says, well, I want you to stand in the middle of the room, like right there, and we're going to put an ISO camera on you. Again, we go to the camera guys, because they help a lot. Hector and Sal and those guys. And they said, warm him up, which means get a nice tight shot, and just shoot it. And he showed me how to do it. Little Jewish old man showed me how to do the thing. And we did it. And the first time we did it, it killed. And what happened was we started doing it like 3 or 4 times a show. Everybody in the cast was like, what the hell is this in the middle of the show? So Norman says, it's out. Get it the hell out of there. I hate it. It's horrible. It's terrible. John Rich took the stand. He says, Norman, this is going to work. This is going to make a catchphrase. It's going to be fantastic. And Norman says, I absolutely hate it. Me and Norman we got along, but we were always creatively at opposite ends, because I was always going for the gusto. And so John says, we got to do it. I'm going to give you 1 shot a show. Because Norman said, I don't want any shots a show of the thing. So it's 1 shot a show. And I said, well, Norman, he said, well, I said to John, I said, I don't think people are going to be stupid enough to buy into a guy standing in the room saying dynamite. He says, oh, yes, they will. And that was all John Rich, because John Rich had to go against Norman. Almost everything I did, Norman was against it. He just like went, we're doing a story here. We can't have somebody just coming out of nowhere doing this stupid stuff. I said, but Norman, it's going to be great. You'll love it. And it's funny because I would always say to Norman, it's going to be great. You love it. And then I did a movie with Bill Cosby, who I know right now is not in the best of shape with the American public. But Sidney Poitier was directing. And every time we would have something, Cosby would come in and go, we got to try this, Sid. It's going to be great. You'll love it. And it's like, my God, I'm saying the same thing as Cosby, And Cosby was always changing stuff. And I was always trying to go for the gusto. Let's get something funny and get as bigger applause line as we could. But Norman fought me to the day. And even to this day, Norman's against me.
Oh, he's not against you.
No, he's not against me personally. He's against what I do.
It's kind of true about comics. I'm going to just tell you, I don't know too much about comics, until I met Jimmy with all that stuff. So I remember I used to say to him, I'm bored. Can I go out with you guys? Can you take me somewhere? Because, he was driving all day, he knew everything and everything. So he said, nah, I'm not taking you anywhere. So finally, I just said, I want to go. Just come pick me up and I'm going to go hang out with you. So he came by and he picked me up. And he had like 4 comics in the car. And so I'm sitting in the back in the middle with these comics. And they, as if I wasn't even there, they were shooting jokes back and forth. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. This is what you do when you go out? This is it? So I'm serious. And we went to the comedy store and then the jokes. And then I said, I want to go home. Jimmy,
that's all we do.
I couldn't believe it. They didn't even talk. It was just comedy, joke.
We're talking jokes all the time.
I couldn't believe it. It was crazy.
Regular people just don't get it.
No.
We're talking jokes.
I'm regular, and I didn't
time.
get it. And I said, no, thank you. I'm never going out with you again.
It's funny when you go out with women, when you're lucky enough to go out with women, they don't, you have to really readjust your whole thinking. You have to say, oh, okay, but everything that comes across the news, this, that, and you always hear on the end of every email when somebody sends you something, a comic, and they always say, too soon? Because it's always something horrible. And even when, if some celebrity dies, there's like 9,000 jokes that come over your email and your text, and it's just no mercy.
None at all.
I think one of the greatest lessons I learned from Mr. Jimmy Walker was to always, when you're entering a sound studio, is to say hello to your crew. There is no show without lights.
You have to have the crew.
There is no show without sound. These are the people that you must respect. So therefore, when you walk into that sound stage, give those men and women their respect. Also, I learned by observation from Jimmy Walker, I have to confess, he always knew his lines.
Yes, he did. I have to say that too.
Always.
I didn't understand it.
I have to say, I do not like actors who don't know their lines. I said, you're getting paid $5,000 a week and you can't remember I'm coming in?
But this is true.
No, but they say, I'm making my entrance. No, the line is, I'm coming in. I'm about to arrive. No, the line is, I'm coming in.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
We pay you to learn the line.
It's
You get
really
paid
true.
to learn.
It's right. It's really true. He really never ever really messed up on his lines.
Amazing.
This is really true.
Amazing.
And so one day I went to Jimmy and I said, "Okay, what is it? How do you remember your lines like that?" And he told me, "Learn your lines backwards." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "If you know the line before you say the line, right? The one underneath the line, and you do it backwards, you can never forget it." And I started practicing my lines like that, and I never, in fact, when I did Girlfriends, that's how I studied those lines. I didn't make not one mistake, not at all.
And I memorized the entire script. So in the event somebody didn't say the line in time, we segued right in. You
Yeah.
guys would never know, but we did. Yeah, we cuss each other out backstage. Line again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Please put your hands together one more time. Mr. Ralph.
Not Phil.
Miss Bernadette Stannis. And Mr. Jimmy Walker. Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. They're headed to their photo op right now, so make sure you head over there. Take this opportunity to grab your picture. 'Cause it's all about the picture.